Okay, we're recording. Hello everyone, AlzionTheGreat here. Totally didn't just record the first few slides of this, but welcome to LOLTalk. This is my opinion, whatever I'm usually wrong. All players mentioned are better than me, any images are not used by me, and like and subscribe. Now let's get on to it. So this video is about why removing the import rule makes some sense, but not a lot, and what Riot and the LCS can do to make sure NA is watched right now. In my previous video, I did say I do not agree with the removal of the import rule, and I still stand by that. But it did get me thinking of how Riot, if they were to remove it, how they could potentially save North American talent, at least for the future. And obviously that's what this video is about. So real quick, I just make my webcam smaller on the other thing, and then we need to go to the next slide. I used these next two slides in my comparison as to why removing it doesn't make sense, and it's basically how the LCS is a failure in that first part of the video. But yeah, simply put, the LCS is the only region to not win a game in the MSI finals. They're the only region not to win an MSI final, and it also has the fastest best of 5 in history against it in 3 of those 6 losses, obviously against the LEC in their first win. So yeah, our champions historically have not done well at MSI, even if they make the finals. And then to go against that, or not go against that, but to further compound this fact, I do have the world's comparisons for all 4 major regions at this point. Last top 8 at Worlds, obviously 2020, G2 and Fnatic for the LEC. Last top 8 at Worlds for the LPL, Suning, GDG, and Top. Suning finished second. Last top 8 at Worlds for the LCK was DRX, Genji, and Dom1 Gaming, winning the tournament. The last top 8 at Worlds for the LCS was 2018 when Cloud9 made the semifinals. And even then, we hadn't advanced, past the quarterfinals in 7 years, so NA was not really doing that good. Then I have the developmental leagues listed. Europe has 13 separate developmental leagues at the least. China has the League of Legends Developmental League, 26 teams, and at least 17 official academy teams in that. Skipping over LCS, the LCK has generational talent. They've been doing this for decades at this point. It's literally encouraged for people to go into esports. They have Challengers Korea, which is the 10 official teams, plus they have trainees that can sign on at least a year or 2 before you officially join the esports, or the organization, I should say. So, yeah, and we go over to the LCS, it's just 10 teams. Same import rule stuff. That's about it. Accepted by the mainstream, basically, is it on TV and not a joke? Europe, I imagine it's on TV and not a joke. For the LPL, it's certainly on TV and it certainly isn't a joke. The LCK, as I said, they've been doing this for decades. It's basically like football for America at this point. You're encouraged to do it. For the LCS, nope. You can find a game from 2007 called the Simulation Football League on NFL 2K8, but you can't find, you can't find League of Legends, the global esports. It's stupid. But with all this, Riot is still considering saying, no, to heck with it. Or, well, not even Riot. The owners, mostly Cloud9, from what I've seen, and Jack Etienne is saying, to heck with the import rule. It's unfair that the rest of the world has wider access to talent pools, and we don't, and this import rule is restricting us and hampering us as we are a worldwide organization trying to win. And his argument has some semblance of sense, this is evidence of it. Like, the LCS does not have a developmental system that is remotely good, and everywhere else, Europe is really big. It's a pretty darn big, continent, and they have 13 separate developmental leagues. China's a huge nation with a big developmental league. Korea has literally been groomed to say, yeah, this is fine, go into it. So they have a much wider and much better access to talent pools, just simply because they've been there for the longest. And NA doesn't, and I understand what Jack's saying, but it's still kind of stupid if you're just going to say, move the import rule and that's it. We're not going to help develop anything. We're just going to do just heck with the import rule. So here is my solution to this. First, expand the LCS, or at least consider expanding the LCS to maybe 16 teams. Make it bigger. Make it a little bit of an incentive to actually have a North American team to develop. To say, yeah, we're not going to do good this year, but we are going to, at least help NA talent grow. I know there's plenty of esports organizations that have been in the LCS before, Energy, Envy, just to name two. Like, yeah, I think they want to come back and play in the LCS, but in the 10-team format, it's not really going to work. And if we expand the LCS, hey, yeah, remove the import rule. I don't care. Take it out. As for the Academy League, if we're obviously going to, the only reason it says 10 to 16 teams is because it kind of depends on how many teams are in the LCS. Keep the import rule there. Make it so your developmental team has to be, 3/5 American, or North American, I should say. Not North American, still live in Canada. But yeah, like, make it so the developmental team is not just Koreans, or Chinese people, or Europeans. I mean, like, quite literally, just make it so it is something, that resembles an actual developmental team from the United States, because it is a United States organization. And then, what I think also needs to happen is we need to make regional leagues. We need to make developmental amateur regional leagues. And I propose we make 3 of those leagues. 10 to 12 teams per league with an import rule applied. This is sponsored by Riot and LCS owners, but we're also going to be using minor esports organizations in the United States. I am a part of a minor esports organization in the US, and I don't know if my team is, our League of Legends team is, LCS caliber or anything, but I still think it's better than nothing to have an amateur league that esports organizations, minor esports organizations, let's say, could go to not only, expand their brand and showcase, that they are a good esports organization, but also for the players to get noticed. And if you want a visual representation, I have luckily prepared one for you. As you see the Western Amateur League, the Central Amateur League, and Eastern Amateur League. Just kind of break it up into 3 parts in the United States. Getting esports organizations from those spots in the United States, or those states, I should say, and make an amateur league. Make 3 amateur leagues to help develop and grow North American talent. It is not that hard. At least I don't think it's that hard. It shouldn't be that hard. I mean, you don't have to franchise the darn thing. You can still use, like, challengers, challenger teams to go into these amateur leagues and, win the championship. You don't have to get 30 separate esports organizations to have, like, you are guaranteed your spot. You don't have to have that. No franchising, no nothing. Just literally make an amateur league sponsored by Riot and the LCS. So NA talent can prosper without the need of an import rule, I should say. Like, make something happen rather than just say, okay, screw this rule. We're going for the best international players out there. Help the amateur scene if you're going to bring in more imports. That's what I'm saying. And just to wrap this up, if Riot removes the import, here's what they should do. Put funding into a freaking sponsored amateur. You are Riot Games. You have the money. And I know North American orgs have the money, because not only is TSM Cloud19 Liquid and CLG probably for the richest, even though CLG isn't exactly good these days. Like, I know they could probably make an amateur league by themselves with the money that they have. Then Immortals, Dignitas, 100 Thieves, they have a clothing brand. 100 Thieves probably have a crap ton of money. Like, stop being stingy. Take a loss for North American development. It is not that hard. I'd say review an expansion of the LCS, not only because I love more teams as a fan, but if you're going to take out the import rule, at least give somebody an incentive to go with a full North American roster if you're going to, you know, take out the import rule, because I would rather see a 16-team league with 10 full import teams and 6 American teams, rather than a 10-team league with all of them being, you know, imported players. I would really rather see that. Keep some semblance on restriction on the amount of imports teams can sign in one off-season. I don't really know about that one, but I just didn't really feel like removing the import rules and just saying, yeah, it doesn't really matter how many you sign, just go wild. I don't think that's a good idea. So I think they should keep some semblance of restriction, but if you're going to remove it at the base level, which is, you know, no residency, no 3 minimum players from the region, if you're going to do that, I mean, have some restrictions. And then this is something that Riot really needs to do. Secure a TV contract with somebody so we can watch the best players. If you're going to bring in, if Dom Juan Kia's roster just got signed to Cloud9 or something, if you're going to let people watch them on TV. If you're going to remove the import rule, give us a way for mainstream America to watch League of Legends on TV. If you're going to do this, it can't be that hard. You're literally one of the most profitable esports in the world. It's going to break out eventually, and securing a contract will help you now. Just do it. It is not that hard. If a freaking simulation football league, no offense to them, I still love, you know, everything that they do, but if a game from 2008 can get more actual TV time, I saw this on TV with DirecTV, I saw this. If they can get airtime, League of Legends could certainly get airtime. And regardless of whether it's this year or next year, be ready for the wave of potential popularity if North America wins an international event in the near future. Because people are going to start taking notice, and you need to use that to secure the TV contract. But regardless, League of Legends right now in North America is on the precipice of either crashing down and burning, or shooting off into the stars. But that will be all for this episode of LOLTalk. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys later.